Animal Crossing Wild World is a game that came out for the Nintendo DS in 2005. By September 2020, the game had sold over 11 million copies. Needless to say, this game fucks. Now, I haven't played Animal Crossing Wild World since before my metaphorical balls dropped, which means I hardly remember it. So, I decided to travel back in time to 2005, almost 2 decades ago, to experience Animal Crossing Wild World. The game begins with a friendly captain welcoming you aboard, asking for your name, and asking where you're headed. Then he implies that you're poor. But don't worry, that's not the most insulting thing that'll be said to you on day 1. You arrive to your new home by cab, and then you immediately walk into the town hall and encounter Pelly, the kindest animal you will cross in this game. See what I did there? It's only gonna get worse from here, folks. But seriously, milk Pelly for all the kindness that she's worth, because holy shit, it gets bad. After leaving the town hall, I explored the menu, and I will say at this point, I realized that this game evokes the same level of relaxation that you get from playing single-player Minecraft. There are no real distractions, and, at risk of sounding like a boomer, no phones unless you go into your attic. I was genuinely surprised at how at peace I felt, even at this point, just wandering around the town alone. But all good things must come to an end, and that peace didn't last forever. I decided to check out my house, and I immediately went upstairs and did what I do in real life. Went to bed, or tried. The game wouldn't let me. But this is where things started to take a less than peaceful turn. After leaving my house, Tom Nook told me that I am in debt to him, and that I am now his employee. At first I was nervous and angry, I didn't know what to think, but I realized in the end that in this economy, I'm lucky to have a job at all. So I did what any half-decent employee would do, and I went to work. The jobs that Tom Nook assigned me felt like psychological tests, like delivering furniture and writing a villager a saucy note. But before I did any of that, he just wanted me to be a good neighbor and introduce myself. Unfortunately, when I introduced myself to Tortimer, being the good employee I am, when asked who I respect the most, I said, well, the CEO. To which Tortimer replied, "My heart feels the pangs of 1,000 tiny icicles." Which, to quote Captain, "There's no pleasing some people, that's for sure." The first villager that I introduced myself to was the fossil-digging pig Curly. The first thing she did was ask for my birthday and my blood type, which came as a shock, to say the least. My blood type? Why do you need to know that? Ultimately, I chalked it up to a cultural difference and went on my way. Next on the agenda was visiting Jeremiah, a blue frog that reminded me of a cross between Uniqua and Pablo from the Backyardigans. I like him. I like Jeremiah. Finally, I encountered Cesar. How do I even begin to describe Cesar? He's easily the worst animal that I've come across in this game so far. He's kind of an asshole, and he has little interest in life, it appears, but hey, at least he likes furniture. He also shouted at me the very first time that we met. We don't fuck with Cesar. I tried at some point to make things right between us. I gave Cesar some furniture that Tom Nook had bestowed upon me, and then he called me Tom Nook's servant, sad, and pathetic. This guy's an asshole, seriously. To make matters worse, when delivering a watering can that Tom Nook had asked me to deliver to Curly, she confronted me about the steamy mail I had sent her, and she berated me as well. At this point, I was a little bit distracted by my rage, and I left a bulletin with some choice words for Cesar, which Animal Crossing ultimately censored in the end, but hey, I felt better afterwards, and that is what counts. After posting my anonymous bulletin, I went and got fired by Tom Nook, and for some reason, my villager jumped for joy at the fact. I guess moral of the story here is that Tom Nook is not the guy to work for, man. I spent the next hour doing regular Animal Crossing things like shaking trees and angering my villagers. Ultimately, I'm glad that I took a look back at this game because it gives me a new appreciation for the quality of life changes in the newer Animal Crossing games. Plus, talking to villagers in Animal Crossing New Horizons is gonna feel like talking to actual angels after talking to Caesar. Thanks for joining me on this blast to the past, and I'm tapping out. That was so corny. Okay, goodbye.